planned U.S. Internet blackout on March 8 raises concerns. A disturbing Ministry of Trade report circulating in the Kremlin today is raising serious concerns over the United States' plan to shut down significant parts of the Internet on 8 March in a move many Russian experts warn could be a prelude to massive attacks against the growing number of dissidents in that country. According to this report, the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) will unplug on 8 March the domain name system DNS servers it set up to replace rogue DNS servers that sent victims to malicious sites. A report on InfoWorld said the removal of this temporary fix may affect a substantial number of users, as half of Fortune 500 companies and U.S. government agencies are infected with the malware, not to mention tens of millions of privately owned American computers. The rogue DNS servers replaced by the FBI were seized this past November in Estonia following a 2-year operation called Ghost Click, where 6 Estonians working for Rove Digital were taken into custody by Estonian authorities in what is called the biggest cybercriminal takedown in history, and the U.S. is now hoping to extradite them. A Russian suspect said remains at large. Those captured by the FBI and Estonian authorities used DNS changer malware to redirect unsuspecting users to rogue servers that allowed them to manipulate users' web activity. When users clicked on the link for the official iTunes website, for example, they were instead taken to a completely different website that purported to sell Apple software. These criminals, reports the FBI, are believed to have made at least $14 million from the scam. Federal Security Services (FSB) addendums to this report note that even though FBI and Estonia authorities took claim for this cyber bust, it was, in fact, Russian officials who supplied the critical information needed for bringing down this criminal ring after extracting a detailed confession from Russian internet businessman Pavel Wrublevsky, and self-confessed Mossad agent, in late October 2011, prior to his sentencing in a Moscow court. Wrublevsky was knowledgeable about the Estonian operation through his association with Rove Digital founder Vladimir Tsaskin, who was a major investor in his company ChronoPay, a major Russian payment processing firm. Upon forwarding their information to FBI and Estonian authorities about Rove Digital's rogue servers, the FSB says in this report, Russian computer security experts sought to reverse the damage done to millions of computers around the world by manipulating the malware used, which would have, in essence, neutralized the threat, but were overruled by the Americans who, instead, seized the servers a few days later and appropriated the malware for their own uses. To why the U.S. would not apply a rapid fix to the millions of computers affected by this malware as suggested by Russian experts, and, instead, replace the rogue servers with our own, and then turn around on 8 March and disconnect them all, has left many in the Kremlin puzzled and concerned. The greatest concern, this report says, is the high potential for the U.S. to further infect computers without anyone realizing what they are doing, so that on 8 March millions of Americans would discover they no longer had access to the Internet, and would not know why. To effectively engineer an Internet blackout, while at the same time holding themselves blameless, the ministry says, could be linked to any number of dissident suppression moves known to be being planned by the U.S., which as of 9 February had already jailed at least 6,509 people protesting against the Obama regime. Massive military movements within the United States, as we had previously reported on, are also continuing unabated, as new reports this week detail U.S. Marine assault exercises being carried out on their East Coast regions. A move made even more suspect after it was discovered that a sniper unit of this elite military force has begun using as its logo the dreaded Nazi SS symbol. Equally concerning about the Americans' planned 8 March Internet blackout is its coming 2 days after what is called Super Tuesday elections 6 March for the Republican Party challenger to President Obama for the presidency, which would allow for massive voter manipulation by U.S. authorities to pick who wins this most crucial race. Important to note about this particular scenario, and as we had previously reported on in our 18 January report, Kissinger vows to China, Jeb Bush will be next president. It was more than interesting to read this new U.S. report that, in part, says, Al Cardenas, head of the American Conservative Union, has said that Republican turmoil might lead to a brokered convention in which Jeb Bush, former Florida governor, would emerge as a possible alternative party nominee. Mr. Cardenas, who is running this year's Conservative Political Action Conference CPAC, a gathering in Washington of some 10,000 conservatives, told Mail Online that it was not certain that one of the 4 current Republican candidates would emerge victorious. To what the final outcome of this planned 8-March shutdown of the Internet will be, it is not in our knowing, other than to note that those who haven't applied a fix to their own computer systems yet should do so as soon as possible lest they find themselves blind. Source-related posts.